Today we're ranking all 33 Fortnite seasons on this tier list. S plus is going to be the best of the best, or the peak seasons. D is going to be those garbage seasons. So what we're going to do is we're going to hop into Kato Thorne's time machine and we're going to travel all the way back to chapter 1 season 1. I haven't done a seasons tier list in over a year and a half, so I'm really looking forward to this. We have had some really good seasons since then and some terrible ones, so I'm curious to see how my tier list turns out. But before we get started, if you enjoy this video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, use code TuneSpider in the item shop, and now let's get to ranking. Now it feels like we didn't have to travel very far for chapter 1 season 1 because we are currently in that season right now for the OG mode, and even though there's a lot of nostalgia for early chapter 1, I'm going to be realistic about it. Chapter 1 season 1, as fun, as amazing as it was learning the game back then, there wasn't much, and if you've been playing it lately, you know that. There's still some great POIs like Retail Row and Pleasant Park and Greasy Grove. I love the old sound effects for the weapons, but there's no mobility, there's a lack of heals. I love the simplicity of it, but I can't be putting it too high, so I'm going to be putting it in C. Next we have chapter 1 season 2. Now Fortnite instantly got a lot better when this season came around. We got our first battle pass, we got Tilted Towers, Snobby Shores, Junk Junction, Shifty Shafts. We got some iconic POIs for chapter 1. The loot pool got a little better because we got the minigun, we got minis for shield, we got LTMs like 50 vs 50, high explosives. So this definitely has to go more towards, I'm going to be leaning towards A. It's going to be a low A compared to some of these other seasons, but I think it's better than the B tier. Up next on the list is chapter 1 season 3, and I'm going to be putting this one in A as well. It had a better battle pass. We got updates to the loot pool like the Porta Fort and the light machine gun. And during the season, we got one of my favorite chapter 1 locations, Lucky Landing, and the meteor started to drop during this season as well, which started leading up to events and what this story was going to be within a battle royale. So because of that, I think it improved on season 2 a little bit to put it above it in A. The next season we're going to be looking at is going to be chapter 1 season 4, which a lot of people I think would consider the best season of chapter 1, or at least one of the best seasons from that chapter. Me personally, I'm going to be putting this one in S. Something that was really fun about this season was the fact that we had the rocket event, so that was our first in-game event. The battle pass only got better, especially since you could unlock and level up parts for Carbide and Omega to upgrade their suit, which was really cool. The loot pool added the dual pistols, which I liked a lot, and it also added the drum gun, so no matter how you feel about that got added during season 4. The map was still solid, but I do think here in this next season it improved a lot when we got the desert biome, and that's season 5. Up to that point, I think season 5 was my favorite season. I absolutely love the map changes because we got Lazy Links, we got Paradise Palms, we had the whole desert biome, which was a lot of fun. We also got Kevin the Cube during that season. This was a spray meta though, so if it wasn't for that meta, because we also got the P90 during that season, it would have definitely been an S plus, but I'm going to be putting it in S. And again, I think the battle pass only improved with Drift and Ragnarok and their level up styles. I also liked Redline and I liked Rook, so overall I felt like this was a great season to be playing Fortnite. Chapter 1 season 6 was the Halloween theme season. I personally enjoyed this one. I did not like these zombies all over the map because they would ruin your end games, but I love the fog, I love the battle pass. I thought it was interesting that Loot Lake became its like own island and you could use that as mobility. Glider redeploy was during this time, which made the gameplay much faster, which was a lot of fun and made the games more intense. Thinking between A and B, I'm going to be going low A. I think that's going to be the lowest A. Now we're moving on to chapter 1 season 7. I think this is still one of the best seasons of all time. This is still my personal favorite, so I'm going to be putting it in S plus. The vibes were at an all-time high. It was a great winter themed season. This is when we got Happy Hamlet, Frosty Flights, the whole snow biome. We got the castle on Polar Peak for the Ice King. Also, we got a sword, which was pretty interesting. I know it was broken and it ruined a tournament, but it was still fun to have on the game. Planes were a fun vehicle item as well. And we can't forget the prisoner that was captured in the castle from the Ice King, which led to further events that we'll be talking about here in the next couple of seasons. Overall, this is still my favorite season, and I cannot wait to play this one again during the OG mode. Now we're shifting to a completely different vibe with chapter 1 season 8, which brought us Lazy Lagoon. It brought us Sunny Steps in that jungle area. Again, now we have more biomes, which is great for the map. I think the map, as far as chapter 1 goes, was at its best during this season. I'm not gonna lie, ballers annoy me a little bit because everybody was sitting in them in end games, and that was really annoying, but at the same time they were fun to use. They just had way too much HP. Once that got reduced, it was a lot more fun in my opinion. I loved getting in the cannons, and the glitches that happened with that were so funny. If you would have asked me around that time, I probably would have had this in B, but I'm gonna have this in the top of A. Next we got the futuristic season, chapter 1 season Season 9. This introduced Neo Tilted, which changed Tilted Towers after it got blown up during the Chapter 1 Season 8 event. And this also brought us Mega Mall, which replaced Retail Row. So 2 iconic locations got replaced. Also, they vaulted the pump, which was pretty much everybody's favorite for the combat shotgun. I did love the combat though, so I wasn't super mad about it once I got used to it, but it was nice when the pump came back, which I believe it did towards the end of the season. This was also the World Cup season, which was a lot of fun to watch. I enjoyed this battle pass. We got the John Wick bounty, which also brought us the tactical AR, which was one of my favorites during that chapter. Overall, I think I had a lot of fun during this season, and I actually have it as one of the most underrated seasons in Fortnite history, so I'm going to be putting this one in S. Next, we got the mech season, Chapter 1 Season X, which I consider one of the best battle passes of all time. And if you want to see how I rank the battle passes, be sure to go check out that tier list video. That's going to be in the description of this one. I think up until about maybe 4 or 5 months ago, this season would have always been in D, or at least the bottom tier. Looking back at it now, because I think we have had worse seasons than Chapter 1 Season X. If it wasn't for the mechs, I think this would have been an A or an S for me, but because of the mechs, I'm going to be putting this one in the bottom of C. But the black hole event was definitely insane to end this chapter on going into Chapter 2, so I feel like C is a good spot for this season. Now let's talk about Chapter 2 Season 1. A brand new map, just brand new everything. The weapons look different, even though they were the same, they were reskinned to look a little bit different. We were able to swim, we were able to fish. There was just a giant problem with Chapter 2 Season 1, and that was the fact that there was no updates, and it went on for way too long. It got so boring so fast, and I think this is when a lot of people started losing interest in this game. So I'm going to be putting this in C. I'm actually going to put it behind Chapter 1 Season X, but they rebounded quickly with Chapter 2 Season 2. Well, actually I wouldn't say quickly because that season went on for so long. This one also went on for a long time, but because it was a lot of fun, it was okay. But I absolutely love the mythics. I love the new POIs like the Agency and the Shark. We just experienced it kind of sort of with Remix, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. I really enjoyed this battle pass, and I love the Ghost for Shadow, and this was the first time that we got a collab in a battle pass with Deadpool. There was bosses, there was NPCs, all of this was brand new. We haven't experienced that yet in Fortnite. It's got to go S+. I don't think it can go anywhere but top tier. Up next is Chapter 2 Season 3. So this is when the map got flooded. I actually think this is an underrated season as well. I don't think it's talked about enough as one of maybe a top 10 or top 15 season. The battle pass was great. I absolutely love the mythics, especially Kit's charged shotgun and Kit's shockwave launcher. The grappler for Jules, I think, just enhanced the grappler, the mythic grappler that we had in Chapter 2 Season 2. I really enjoyed this battle pass besides Aquaman, so I'm going to be putting this one in S, and towards the top of S. Next is our first collab season. This was our first Marvel season, Chapter 2 Season 4, and this was probably the best time to be playing Fortnite. The Marvel mythics were awesome. The Stark Industries location was incredible. The loot pool was great. I think casuals and competitive were having a fun time during this season, which is very rare. Just everything about this season was peak, so it has to go in S+. Up next is Chapter 2 Season 5. This was the collab season. It felt like every other day there was a new collab in the item shop. And we also got Mandalorian that as a collab skin in the Chapter 2 Season 5 battle pass, which I thought was it was a pretty mid battle pass in my opinion. I like the sand changes. I liked seeing the 0 point floating above the island. I thought all of that was pretty cool. And I think the map was solid. I don't think it was the best. And I like the lever action shotgun, so I thought the loot pool was all right as well. Just nothing was amazing in my opinion, to where I don't feel like I can put it up with these other seasons, so I'm going to be putting in B. It was just it was a mid season. And here we go. Chapter 2 Season 6, the Primal season. The only thing that really came out of this season that I liked was Lara Croft. Actually, you know what? When you first log in, that little event that you got to do, that was a lot of fun as well. I believe that was directed by the Russo brothers, which is pretty cool. They directed the Avengers movies. But other than that, I did not enjoy this season at all. I left. I stopped playing Fortnite for a few months because of the Primal season, and that was the only time I ever stopped playing Fortnite. So because of that, it has to go in D. It was garbage. Next, we got the Alien season. This was also a letdown for the battle pass in my opinion, so I gotta knock it a point there. But I will say the event was incredible. I think there's only a couple events that were better than this one, and I think the gameplay was a lot of fun this season. If you remember the cow mobility, that was pretty funny. The railgun came during Chapter 2 Season 7. I didn't really care for the UFO planes, but I mean, they were all right. So I'm gonna be putting this one in A. Next, we have Chapter 2 Season 8, which wrapped up Chapter 2. It's so weird to think that we used to have way longer chapters than we do now. Kind of wish we would go back to that. I think 6 seasons would be the perfect amount for a chapter. So I believe this season was called Cubed, if I remember right, because there was cube monsters, there was like the dirty bubbles that were all over the map. I actually really enjoy this battle pass. I thought it was really good. I remember they brought back some mythics, so I remember like the shockwave launcher was back. I thought that was cool. There was just a mix of a lot of chapter 2 mixed into this final one, which led into the end event against the Cube Queen, which was arguably the greatest event of all time. I still think that is that one or Collision, but it's a top tier event. But the gameplay was all right, so I think I'm going to be putting this one in the top of B. And at the end of that event led us to chapter 3 season 1. This had one of my favorite maps of all time. I used to say it was my favorite map, but with chapter 6 season 1, I don't know now, but I still absolutely love this map. This also brought us the web shooters. This was the Spider-Man season. We had Spider-Man in the battle pass, we had the daily bugle. The web shooters for mobility were absolutely incredible. It's hard to put this anywhere but S+. Up next is chapter 3 season 2, which introduced zero build, which I think is very important to note when you're going to rank this season. The battle pass included Doctor Strange, the Prowlers, Suki 2.0, so I thought it was a solid battle pass. I thought the gameplay was fun. You could drive, I'm pretty sure you could drive around the bus during this season, like, and there was tanks. Like, I thought that was a fun time. It was absolutely crazy because it was the war of the IO versus 7 that was concluding, so I'm going to be putting this one near the top of A. Next is Donald Mustard's last season, the vibin' season, where we're supposed to just chill out during the summer and kind of celebrate everything that he did for this game, even though we didn't know it at the time. The battle pass was all right. There was a couple skins that I like. Overall, the gameplay was, I mean, solid. It wasn't anything crazy. I think this is when we could start riding animals though, which was pretty cool. And I really liked the reality sapling trees. The map was beautiful in parts of it. I don't know, there was some cool things that they did for this season, but it was just kind of slow and it got boring. So I'm going to be putting it in C, but I think it's above these here. Next is the Chrome season, and I just wasn't a fan of this one, to be honest with you. I like that we got Spider-Gwen in the battle pass. That was cool. Some of the Chrome weapons were all right. The Chrome all over the map look ugly, and I hate turning into like that Chrome goo for mobility, so this one's going to be going in D. Chapter 4 season 1 was a great way to start the new chapter. After a letdown of event that we had in chapter 3 season 4, the fractured event, I think chapter 4 season 1 was a big positive. Like with the shockwave hammer, I thought the map was pretty good. I thought the battle pass was solid, so I'm going to be putting this one in the top of B, because next what we got is Mega, and I think it only enhanced what we got with chapter 4 season 1 with Mega City. We got Steamy Springs. I thought this was one of the best battle passes, and we got my favorite mobility item of all time, the kinetic blade. During this season we had the Havoc pump shotgun, which is arguably the best shotgun of all time in this game. Overall, I think vibes and just gameplay and everything was at an all-time high during this, so I'm going to be putting this one in the top of S. Next we have the wild season, which brought the jungle in the middle of the map. I did like Rumble Ruins, and I like the vines that you could ride. I thought that was all pretty cool. I think the battle pass was a letdown. The gameplay was not fun. Whenever they bring in the drum shotgun, I already know I'm gonna have a terrible time. Overall, I just think Wilds was pretty boring. I didn't think there was anything special about it. I'm gonna be putting it in D. And then I think it rebounded with chapter 4 season 4. I absolutely love this season. I have it in my top 10. I loved Eclipse Estate. I love all those locations that they added for Kato Thorn, and then the fact that there was the vault and you could break open those cases and get a mythic weapon of your choice. I thought that was so cool. It definitely gave me chapter 2 season 2 vibes. I love the map at this point. The heisted accelerant shotgun, I remember landing at Rumble Ruins to purchase that every time. Something I really loved about chapter 4, which I hope we see again someday, is the augments. I thought those were really cool, and I love the twin mag AR. It's tough because I love the loot, I love this season, I love the map. You know what? This is going to be a hot take. I'm going to be putting this one in S+. Next, we got the OG season. It was so nostalgic. I was so hyped. It's crazy how much the player count went up during this time. This is definitely going near the top of S as well. The only reason why I'm not putting it higher is because it was only a month, but it was an incredible month with incredible battle pass, incredible gameplay, incredible vibes. Everything about it was just amazing. Then we had the Big Bang event, which led into chapter 5 season 1, and I honestly felt like Fortnite was on a roll at this point. I loved the underground season. I know there wasn't as many updates, but we had that Ninja Turtle update, which was awesome. I love their mythics, and I love the underground with Master Splinter there. I love this battle pass. I love the gameplay. I really like the map at first too. I think everything was just playing so well. I wish they never got rid of Hazy Hillside and Ritzy Rivera. I'm actually going to be putting underground near the bottom of S. Next, we got Myths and Mortals, and I loved the first half of this season so much. If they would have never added some of those avatar mythics, mainly just the water bending, this probably would have been an S or S plus season for me. I love the wings. I love the Zeus lightning. I thought all of that was so fun and played into the season theme so well. I really like this battle pass a lot. I love the map changes, but I gotta be putting this one in B because I just did not have fun like the second half of that season. And then we have, arguably, this might have been the most like controversial season of all time, even if it wasn't the worst season of all time. I remember there were different arguments every day when I logged onto social media. I mean, the battle pass is solid. The map changes were a disappointment for a desert biome or like a wasteland biome. I was pretty disappointed because of the desert biomes that we've had in the past were absolutely incredible. I hated the map at this point. I hated the turrets on the vehicles so much. It's just not a gameplay style for me. I just don't have fun just sitting in a car the whole game trying to run people over and shoot people with a turret. This one is going to be going in D, but I don't think it was as bad as Wilds or Primal. Oh, and the Nitro Fists were fun for mobility, but annoyed me for close combat because they looked like they were about 15 meters away from me, but they were somehow punching me. I absolutely hated that like visual glitch that it had. Next, we have our second Marvel season, the Absolute Doom season. I do not think it lived up to the hype of Nexus War at all. I did really like this battle pass. I think they picked some awesome characters. I do wish Captain Jones and Pilverine were item shop skins rather than being in the battle pass, and we got characters like Nightcrawler or Winter Soldier or something like that. There were times I definitely had fun playing this season, but I will say I was still playing Reload more than the actual battle royale, I think. And because in Rec, Reload was introduced because the player count was dropping so fast and by so much. And I do think that Doom mini event was definitely a disappointment. I know it was a mini event, but bringing in Doom like that, hyping him up the way they did, it was definitely a letdown, especially as someone that's a huge Marvel fan like myself. I will say though, Fortnitemares was killer. That was a great update, which definitely brings this up a little bit to be the bottom of A. Next, we have Chapter 2 Remix, which just started off not great with that first event. I didn't mind it. It wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst in my opinion. I like some of the battle pass. I didn't like all of these skins. I do think the rappers at these different locations that were iconic for Chapter 2 Season 2 was a lot of fun. I think it was a good twist, and I did like their mythics, but I do think this got boring after like a week or two. After like 2 weeks, I was pretty bored of the season and I was ready to move on to Chapter 6. So because of that, I'm going to be putting it in B. All right, now we're in Chapter 6 Season 1, our current season. If they keep this up or even do better updates, I do think this is Fortnite's like newest peak or next peak. As of right now, I have it in S+. I absolutely love the game right now, and I think the metaverse is the best it's ever been so far, with modes like Ballistic, Brick Life, Reload, and just so much more. I think this is where it's at its best. I think the map is absolutely beautiful. I love the gameplay. I do wish the shotguns got a buff. That's the only thing that I would really complain about right now, but I love the Void Mask. It's one of my favorite mobility items of all time now. I think this was one of the best battle passes. I cannot wait to see Godzilla on the map. Hopefully this Winterfest update is a good time. Right now, I have it in S+. I have it as the newest peak, and I'm hoping that continues. It continues all the way through Chapter 6, but this is my Fortnite season tier list. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm sure there's quite a bit that you disagree with, so go ahead and comment and let me know, or let me know what you do agree with. And if you would like, you can check out my other tier list videos. Be sure to drop a like on this one, subscribe to the channel, use code TuneSpider, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace!